I'm Chris Ezekiel. I'm the founder and CEO of Creative Virtual, a chatbot conversational AI company. This is our 21st year as a company, so interesting being surrounded by startups here at the Web Summit in Qatar. But we're very much not a startup, but we're always in that startup mode, I guess.
And what brings you here?
Well, to really get a feel of what's going on in this space. Every talk, as you can imagine, is about AI. This is part of our product, not the only part of our product, but part of our product. And wanted to see also the vibe of the area. There's a lot going on in this part of the world, and wanted to see what that means for the tech industry generally, artificial intelligence more specifically, conversational AI more specifically, and what it might mean for Creative Virtual to operate in this area.
Tell us a little about kind of where you are now as a product. What kind of experience are you delivering? What services are you offering?
Yeah, I think the thing that makes us unique, I would say, is, well, one, our people, of course. We've got lots of experience in delivering these solutions for some of the largest companies in the world, people like HSBC, when they're answering questions for their customers online. And I think for us, it's what's part of our DNA is not to get too much carried away with the technology. For us, it's about applying rigor and trust and rules and consistency and compliance to natural language processing. And we've been doing that for 21 years. So at the very beginning, it was about just using natural language processing rules to recognise different ways that people might ask you a question, to recognise their different languages even. But now it's about augmenting that process with AI. A few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, it was about neural networks. Now it's about the large language models. I guess it's always going to change, and the models are going to get more sophisticated. We're now looking at agentic models, where they can be more autonomous, do more complex tasks. But for us, it's always been about, okay, how do we take the latest technology and make it work for large enterprises that want to be sure that it's giving the right answers? So when I look at our 21 years as a company, we've always done that, regardless of what is behind it that's delivering the actual answers in terms of the technology. And I think what's really key to it is that companies need to use their own content, their own knowledge, their own documents when they're using these models. And for us, that's absolutely key, and it's part of our DNA. They need to be sure that it's come from their source materials. And I think there's a lot of hype around AI, but what often gets missed is the really boring stuff, actually, about content and knowledge management. I once heard from an analyst many years ago that knowledge management is the jewel in the crown. And when we think about the world today, not just AI, but what gets put out there in terms of the media, and what source do you use as your trusted source of news today, that content and knowledge has never been more important, I think. And that's been a theme from this conference, I think. That's come through kind of loud and clear. And so what we're about, so leaving the people to one side, our technology is all about making sure that we combine the content and knowledge from the organisation with this latest technology, and not just being all about AI. As I said, sometimes if you're a bank and you want to have a process for somebody reporting a lost credit card, that's a very specific and defined process that they have to go through step by step, and there's a lot of compliance around that, of course, and identity and personalisation and trust, and what we find today is organisations want to kind of have some things answered by the models, the artificial intelligence, and some things they want to keep as defined processes. And how you combine those two together and let organisations go on their own kind of destination AI journey is what we do with the technology.
Here we are on day 3. What have you been your, I suppose, big kind of takeaways and reflections from this summit?
Yeah, I think everybody's like, whether it's the media side or the technology side, for me, it's about how do you keep up with this pace of change? And that's, it's changing daily. We've only got to see what's coming out in terms of geopolitics. That's changing so rapidly. The only thing that's changing more rapidly than that is the world of AI, of course. So I think how you keep up with that pace of change is been one of the kind of key themes, I think. And from an investment point of view as well, you look at the investors, they must struggle all the time. How do they keep up with the latest technologies, the latest trends, which is changing daily? Just recently we've obviously had the big impact of DeepSeek, the model from China that's disrupted things. So where we would see disruption happening, over months or years, even in the technology field, we're seeing it almost on perhaps not a daily basis, but certainly a weekly or monthly basis now. And I think that's the theme here. Everybody's trying to grapple with how they manage that change being so rapid.
And for a business that's been around for 21 years, I suppose you've got a unique perspective on that.
Yeah, and I think the other unique bit we have is that we don't have investment today, which means that we're able to, there's pros and cons to that. As I said, a lot of this conference is about investment, and I'm here kind of looking at that and how we might expand in this region, of course. But I think what it's enabled us to do, though, is take a kind of longer term view on things. There are these short-term technology trends. We have to constantly stay on top of those, but we also have to take a longer-term view of what that means to our roadmap, and I guess more importantly, what it means to our customers and our partners, and how they can actually deliver value from these changes that are happening so quickly. And being able to take a longer-term view on that is very important too.
And where do you see the real opportunity in terms of all of this change?
Well, I think you've got to, making our lives easier. Time is the currency, isn't it, that we all struggle for. Being immersed in so much information, being able to kind of have technology that can help with those factors, I think is kind of what we're focused on. And so for organisations that we work with, it's enabling their customers to spend less time dealing with that company for problems that they might have, or selecting products, and making it an experience where they want to come back and enjoy. One of the things that we find today is that with all this technology happening so quickly, many organisations are creating quite a vanilla-looking customer experience. And we've always been a company that's enabled organisations to differentiate their customer experience, to project their brand values and make them stand out. So if you can actually deliver those two things, making it very efficient to deal with that organisation, whether it's buying products or getting service afterwards, or whether it's identifying with that brand and staying loyal to it, they're things that we're bringing together with our technology to enable organisations to do that, and not jumping on the bandwagon and making every company look the same. Companies have brand value. They've invested a lot in that, and they want to be able to take that forward and let it permeate through all of their customer experience touch points with their customers.
Chris, thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.